today, so that's good. Okay, thank you all for joining today. I think this is great. This presentation is on video options for remote instruction. So part of what you'll see today is some best practices, a little bit on creating videos, but a lot of it is just going to be a comparison on different types of video to help you choose kind of what will work best for you. Because a lot of best practice things are kind of out the window right now because we're talking about remote instruction. So hopefully most of what you'll see here is how to do things quickly and help you find a solution that'll work for you quickly. So, and I'm sorry because a lot of these slides have a lot of text on them, but toward the end of the presentation I'm going to give you a demo of a couple of things that I know folks have been asking me about. So that's why at the bottom of this slide, when we get to the end, I'm going to show you how to access and link to Collaborate Ultra, how to access and add Kaltura My Media Space to your course because it's a little bit not at all intuitive, and how to launch the Kaltura Capture tool. And then also, I've had a lot of folks recently that I kind of showed them how to embed a video, just like a YouTube video in Blackboard, and they said that it was really cool and awesome, and it's super easy. So I thought that I would show that to you as well in case you haven't done that before. So anyway, with that, I will go ahead and get us started. Whoops, I'm skipping ahead. I'm sorry. There we go. So I'm sure a lot of you know the advantages of using instructional videos is that it's an easy way for students to access your course content, especially right now. With everything going online, I think it's kind of a big fear for students that they're just going to have to get in there and read a whole lot of content for your classes. So this kind of breaks that up a little bit. It kind of breaks up your content and gives them something kind of more visually stimulating that they can focus on. And it allows you to kind of connect with them on a personal level, which I feel like is important, especially now, given everything that's going on. And hopefully, if you've chosen videos correctly, you are identifying things that you know they're going to have the greatest need for, and you're delivering those videos at that point of need. So part of what we'll talk about today is kind of being purposeful in the video selection. So some of these very basic best practices are that all of your videos should be relevant to the course. And I know that seems really basic, but I think it's really easy for you to kind of find other video content out there and be like, well, this kind of has to do with my class, and it's video, so that kind of breaks things up a little bit, so I'm going to throw it in here. And really it's better if the videos that are in the course should be 100% relevant to what you're trying to teach. It's also important that your videos be authentic. So if you are messing up a little bit, stumbling over your words or things like that, that's totally okay. The students will appreciate you being authentic more than they will appreciate you being 100% professional. They know that you're a human being. They've been in your class all semester, and they're okay with you making a few mistakes. Another tip here is to keep your videos short. I would say I would not go over 10 minutes with any of your videos. So what that means in a lot of cases is that you need to chunk your information. So that means maybe you break the videos down and you're just doing one video per concept. So it's also a really easy way to just complete a whole bunch of videos and not have to worry about editing too much because you're just doing a bunch of short videos. So that's helpful as well. I want to touch briefly on video hosting. So I know if you were in one of the training sessions yesterday, I think we kind of talked about video hosting a little bit, but if you weren't, want to make sure that I kind of talk to you guys about this. So our big tip is that we don't want you uploading your video files directly into Blackboard. So we need to use a video hosting tool so that we're not wasting storage space in Blackboard to try to hold all your videos. Plus, if you're using another video host, it's going to display nicer inside Blackboard. So the university pays for Kaltura, so all faculty can use Kaltura to upload any of their videos. It's a nice tool that's integrated into Blackboard, and it was purchased specifically for you all to use. You also have the option to use YouTube. So we have a college channel, and it's kind of nice. I've got the admin permission on that, and so if anybody else wants to be added to the college YouTube channel and let you basically create your own playlist with all of your videos, I can absolutely give you access to that. Just send me an email and I will set you up that way. You also have the option to create your own YouTube channel. I know a lot of folks do that too. YouTube is super easy to use, and so if that is your preferred video hosting tool, then please use it. And Mike, it looks like you have your hand raised.
I do. For the first time, this is kind of cool. Click on the little icon. Do we know, does it make a difference for students being able to access the videos if they're being hosted on Kaltura versus YouTube?
It shouldn't have any effect on that. So both types of videos are embedded in Blackboard courses. So the access for students should be exactly the same.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So now I'm going to break this down a little bit and talk about the different types of instructional videos. And I know a lot of you are kind of like, oh my gosh, I just want you to tell me about the tools, right? That's the only reason I'm here. But I really feel like this is going to help you make informed decisions about what type of videos you want to put in your class, and that's going to help you choose the right tool to do that. So when we talk about instructional videos, this is basically four formats that we're going to talk about here today that I want to mention. So we've got our teacher immediacy videos, which are videos where you are talking to the students, and I will certainly mention more details about each of these as we go through this. You've got your live video lectures, evergreen videos, and so evergreen videos are instructional videos that if you wanted to, you could reuse semester after semester after semester. And then curated content is video content that you are collecting from other sources and using in your class. So we will touch on all of those today. So first, the teacher immediacy videos are, they're pretty important for your students in a lot of ways. You know, it has a lot to do with your student success in your classes. And I think that's a big concern for a lot of folks right now. Given this huge disruption in everyone's lives, it might be really beneficial if you can add some teacher immediacy videos to your class so that students still feel connected to you and connected to your class. So what these videos can do is they kind of set the expectations for your assignments, for your projects, for the rest of the semester in your class. You can also use teacher immediacy videos to provide feedback. So let's say, you know, everyone just turned in their first week of, you know, discussion posts or whatever because you're having to change your content for the rest of the semester. It might be really nice if you pop up a video and say, hey guys, you did really great on this, but we need everyone to work on this. And it's just a nice way to let them feel like you're still there and you care. And you can also use it to communicate a discussion prompt. If you want to do a quick video and then have them kind of respond on a discussion board or things like that, it's a nice way to keep the students engaged. So, but with these teacher immediacy videos, typically you're going to appear on camera for those. And I know a lot of folks are like, oh, that's the deal breaker for me. I don't want to show up on camera. But it really does make a big difference for your students. It's going to help them still maintain that relationship with you, and they will build respect. Even if you're making mistakes and not being perfect, they know you. Again, they've been in your class all semester, so it's a good thing. So when we talk about teacher immediacy videos, the methodology for those is typically a webcam. So these videos are recorded either from built-in camera or if you have a separate device that's plugged into your machine. And again, these are ideal for providing students with feedback, announcements, updates, anything like that. These are really not instructional videos per se. Like, you're probably not going to teach a concept using one of these teacher immediacy videos. These are kind of just to touch base and make sure everybody knows that you're still there. And that's why, so one advantage is that they usually require minimal edits, right? That's why the level of difficulty here is listed as easy, because you turn on that webcam, you say what you need to say, and then boom, you're done, you upload, you're ready to move on. And so that's really what we need right now, so it works out well. So moving on, now we'll talk a little bit about the live web lectures, right? And so if you went to one of the trainings yesterday, we talked a lot about Collaborate being like one of the main tools that we have in Blackboard for web lectures like this. And I wanted to give you all an update because I just heard from IT. We had folks in our college that were asking about Google Meet, I believe is what it's called. It's part of our G Suite. We had a few folks that wanted to use that to record live web lectures. They liked that better than Collaborate, but it didn't have the record feature. So I asked about it today, and our IT folks did a little bit of work, and they were able to add that feature for us. So that is another option if you are looking for web lecture tools. So you can find that one with all of your other Google apps through ASU. So that might be another good option. But anyhow, so the live web lecture is going to allow your students to feel connected to your class, right? So it's the closest thing you're going to have to reading the room, right? Because you're interacting with the students as they're learning the material. So you can, ask them, how are you doing with this? What do we need to go back and reteach or, describe in a different way? There's some definite benefits of the live web lecture. So the slide I have here is specifically about the Collaborate tool, but like I just said, we now have the Google Meet app. We've also, some folks are using WebEx and Zoom. There's a bunch of different options out there. I'm sticking with Collaborate on this one because it's integrated into Blackboard. And so if you're new to all of this, Collaborate's going to be the easiest one for you to use because you don't have to do as much work as you do with some of those other tools. So anyway, what this is a synchronous class meeting, right? So you're going to have all your students logging in at the same time. And you can record that so that they can go back and reference it later. So it's ideal for, having more dynamic online lectures, right? And interacting with the students if that's important for you, to still, keep in contact with them each day or, a couple times a week. Maybe the live web lecture is the way to go. A few things that you can expect some technical difficulties. I think it's really easy for folks to hop in here and not have aspects of the call working for them, whether that's audio, video, whatever that may be. That's pretty par for the course no matter what tool you're using. It's easy to forget to hit record. I did that yesterday when we were doing one of our sessions. We got like halfway through and I went, I forgot to record this for everyone who couldn't be here right now. So it's almost better if you can set a reminder for yourself on that. The other thing is that the recordings may not be available for a few days. So all of these different live web lecture tools that we have available to us, they're all cloud hosted. None of them are self-hosted here at Angelo State. So they're not going to be available right away. We know with Collaborate, it may, in the past, if you were doing like an hour-long lecture, it may take 48 hours for that lecture to be available to students. So it may be even longer now that we have, the entire country moving all their classes online. So we'll kind of just have to wait and see how that pans out. So for that reason, you may want to consider some of these other options. Maybe you want to do the live web lecture and do some of these other video types in case you have students who can't jump into class synchronously. So I listed the level of difficulty on this one as moderate because sometimes it can really be a lot. It can take a lot of energy, a lot of work to orchestrate a web lecture for everybody, and to kind of think through all right, what are some you in Collaborate, you have the ability to do polling. You can do different file sharing. You can have breakout groups. You can do things like that, but it's really not as easy for you to just do things on the fly like you can in the classroom. A lot of the things that you're doing in the live web lecture, you have to kind of think through in advance. So I'm going to move on now to the Evergreen videos. And in this case, that's probably not the greatest name right now because a lot of these videos you probably may not want to reuse in the future. But this is the term that I've always used for these types of videos. I'm going to stick with it. So what it means is you're creating instructional videos that cover key concepts that are things that you could potentially reuse in the future. So like the live web lectures, you're probably never going to use beyond the course that you recorded it in, right? Because it includes the student interaction with the students that are enrolled in that course. The same with the teacher immediacy videos, where you're kind of posting announcements, giving students feedback, those type of things. You are not going to reuse those videos either. But these are the types of videos that do end up being reused if you so chose. So the options here, and we'll go through each one of these. We've got the screen capture using your computer. You've got screen capture using a tablet, and you can do recordings with a document camera, and then classroom demonstration recordings. So a couple of best practices here with these types of videos would be to only cover one topic at a time. This is also going to help you keep the videos from being too long. Remember, we talked about keeping them 10 minutes or shorter. So only covering one concept at a time is really going to help with that. Another thing, or several things to consider as you're creating these videos, are your audio, your lighting, and your pacing. So above all else, I would say make sure you have good audio, right? That's going to make or break your video, because I don't know of any instructional videos that are silent. If they are silent, they'd probably have to have really good captioning in them. So you need to make sure that the students are able to hear what you're saying and what you're narrating and walking them through as you're teaching them. Depending also on the types of videos, like if you were doing a lab demonstration, you'd also want to have really good lighting. You would need them to see exactly what you're trying to show them and everything that you're demonstrating. And another thing that gets difficult with videos is pacing. And I know that's a tough one, but I've definitely had some people tell me that when they start recording videos, they start talking super duper fast. And because they don't have the students in the room to kind of help them, check for understanding, they end up just like blazing through and going super fast. So pacing ends up being one of those things that you just have to consciously think about and try to slow yourself down a little bit. That would be the best advice there. I don't really have any other kind of rules of thumb there, except just to be aware of your pacing and try to go at a moderate speed. So a few other things that are really helpful for instructional videos are to use some phrases that are going to be kind of reassuring to your students. Saying things like, "But you know all about that from the beginning of the semester when we talked about X, Y, Z." Or if you can be empowering and tell them things like, "This is the part that you can do however you want," right? And so giving them some choice in there is also going to help you be kind of more approachable and help the content be less intimidating for the students. And that's kind of important when we're entirely online. It's easy for students to get turned off and say, "This is too hard for me, this is too difficult." So any types of phrases, social cues that you can use that are going to help kind of make your content less intimidating will be a good thing for sure. So the first methodology here with the Evergreen videos that I'm going to talk about is the screen capture via computer. So with this type, you're using software that allows you to define a specific region of your screen, and then you're also recording your audio as you're walking through something. So in our case, my recommendation for this would be the Kaltura capture tool, which I'll show you at the end of the presentation. So that one, you don't have to have any special software for it. You can just access it from Blackboard. And then, so if you had a PowerPoint, much like this one that I'm showing you today, you would just define that rectangle region, and then you start narrating it. You start recording and just narrate the whole thing. So what it's ideal for then is, like I said, the narrating the PowerPoints. If you're demonstrating how to do something on a computer, so it might be a good option for a lot of our computer science folks. Or if you are, maybe you're trying to teach students how to graph something, or something else where you need them to do something on a computer, it's great for that. You could also, do a screen capture with images if you're trying to walk them through steps to do something. So limitations for this is that, that's Lauren. Oh, you want me to point to the screen? Yes. Okay, I can do that. Is the pointer, is this good? Or do I need, hold on, I've got a couple of options. Arrow? Maybe I'll use the pointer. Okay, I'll use the pointer unless you guys tell me otherwise. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, you wanted the demonstration. Okay, well, so hopefully you can see that. So we're doing the again, continuing here with the limitations and considerations for the screen capture via computer. It's not so great if you're working out problems, like if you're doing equations or things like that, because you don't really have the option to write on the screen, or not in a very easy way. You'd have to use your mouse. One of the things to consider if you're not wanting to do a lot of edits, these videos are great because you pretty much, you narrate them, you do the recording, and like, boom, you're done. You're ready to go. It's also really easy for you to use a script. Okay, so like you have your defined region that you're recording, and over here on the side you can have your notes or your script to help you to make sure you're remembering all the things that you want to say. So for that reason, I left this one with the level of difficulty as easy, because it's, again, anything that requires minimal edits is usually going to be pretty easy. So this next option here is going to be the screen capture via tablet. So again, you're using screen capture software for this one, and it's going to record everything that's on your device. So if you're using an iPad or some other Android type of tablet, that's what we're talking about here. So this is the type that is ideal for demonstrating how to solve problems or equations. Okay, so a lot of these tablets now will have like the stylus pens that you can write on, so it makes it a lot easier than if you were to try to write something with a mouse on a computer. So it's also really good if you do a lot of drawing to illustrate things for students, or if you already have other diagrams that you want to pull up and then annotate on top of. Teaching from the tablet is great for that. And obviously you can narrate presentations. So some of the limitations to me is that there are just tons of apps. There's so many different apps that you can use for this type of work. And I don't really, a lot of people ask me, what I recommend for that, and I don't have a set recommendation for everybody. It really depends on your teaching style, and kind of how you prefer to work, what you value a lot while you're working on things. So we've got some folks that use a lot of equations, and so they want to already have a PDF that has their equation written out, and then they're solving it by hand in the video. And so those folks need to get an app that allows them to import PDFs. Some of the other really good apps for drawing out equations don't allow you to import from PDF. So you kind of have to figure out for you what's your priority. Some of the other ones are really good at allowing you to change colors. So if you're trying to differentiate from like different steps of the equation, using different colors might be a good way to do that. Or if you're working on chemistry and you're working through like different chemical reactions, a lot of times the different colors can help a lot with that. One of the other limitations, though, if you're doing screen capture from tablet, is that a lot of times the audio is not that great. Remember, we talked before about the importance of audio with your videos. So, you can get other little gadgets that you can add on, Bluetooth types of things that are going to help enhance the audio. I don't have any of those available for checkout, though. So some of the apps available out there are fairly good with audio, and some of them are unreliable. So because there's a lot of different options here with the screen capture from tablet, I listed this one as level of difficulty as moderate. Also, I listed it that way because a lot of times if you're writing out the equations, you want that to be kind of quick in the video, but you don't want to go too fast. So there's a lot of pacing issues, I feel like, if you're not careful about that or cognizant of that when you're getting started. So another methodology would be using a document camera. So this one has a lot of similarities to the screen capture from tablet. It's a lot of the same concept in that you're trying to demonstrate how to solve problems or equations, or maybe you're drawing on graphics or illustrations. So typically with the document camera, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's an adjustable video camera that allows you to record everything that's placed beneath it. So and a lot of times they'll have a built-in microphone, or you can attach a separate microphone as well, so you can have improved audio. But some of the limitations of that are that the user's hand is usually visible in the recordings. So if you have a nice, attractive hand, great. And if you're not bothered by your hand being the star of all of your videos, that's great too. It works. You do run the risk of audio being poor, but again, hopefully you can test that out a little bit and get a solution that'll work. The other advantage, though, is that these videos usually don't require a lot of editing. So that's why the level of difficulty on this one is easy. That was another thing. I'll go back briefly to the screen capture recordings from a tablet. Is that a lot of times you may need to kind of go back and retest things when you're trying to figure out, like, okay, now I want this piece of the equation to pop up, and now I think I can jump to this part, because I don't want people to have to sit there and wait for me to write out every single little detail. So there is more thought that has to go into that when you're kind of putting together the video. Whereas if you're just recording from a webcam, they're going to see everything all the time, and that's okay. All right, so next methodology would be the classroom demonstration. So for these, the instructor actually appears on the camera, and they're narrating what they're doing while they're completing a task. So this one would be, in our college's case, would be ideal if you have specialized equipment or lab specimens, and you're trying to walk through for the students kind of what you're wanting them to do or what concept you're trying to teach them. So these can be a great option for step-by-step instructions. If you're trying to show cause and effect with different things in the lab. It can also be really good for generating student interest and engagement, and especially since the students are used to seeing you, it might help for them to continue seeing you in some videos like this. Some limitations and considerations are that you really want to make sure you have good audio and lighting for these videos, especially if you're going to record them from some of our labs on campus. Some of our labs kind of have lots of white noise in them, from different, equipment or things like that. So we really want to make sure that we're using a microphone and that you have that hooked up, like a lapel mic specifically, as opposed to like a boom mic on the camera, because the boom mic is going to make all the noises in the classroom louder, whereas the lapel mic, if you clip it onto yourself, is just going to make your voice louder. So that's the difference with some of that. So these videos typically will require a little bit of editing, like maybe, especially if you're kind of showing cause and effect for certain things, maybe you can't show that all in one continuous video clip. Maybe you've got to come back, and show them this is what happens after 2 hours or things like that. So you may have to do some editing. You will have to transfer the video content from a video camera to the computer. So pretty much all the other options that we've talked about will allow you to go straight, you're recording straight from the computer, or you're hooked straight into the computer and can just go from there. Whereas if you're doing a classroom demonstration, you are likely going to have to, take out a card, an SD card from the camera, and go hook it up to your computer, possibly do some editing, and then have it ready to post. And so for that reason, I listed the level of difficulty on this one as moderate, because it does involve a few other steps. So I also briefly wanted to talk about curated content. So sometimes it's interesting to have folks ask me if they are allowed to use content from other sources in their classes, and absolutely. There's no reason that you should have to reinvent the wheel if there's already other good videos that are covering, what you're trying to teach. So it can also be a way to add some variety and alternate perspectives in your class. So you may find that you want to do those teacher immediacy videos every week so that the students are connected to you and they see you, but maybe you've got a really great source for instructional videos that's going to demonstrate all the concepts you're trying to teach them. So part of it is kind of coming up with a strategy for where can I use these different types of videos and how do they function within my class? So curated content, one of the biggest issues can be taking the time to find what you need. If you already know of some great videos that demonstrate what you're trying to teach, you are doing great. If you haven't found them yet, that's okay. We have several different examples of curated content sources and places that you can look. Obviously YouTube, Khan Academy has some good stuff. There are plenty of OER resources, so if you are looking for OER resources, oh my goodness, let me know and I can send you a list about a mile long. And then our ASU librarians, they are absolutely ready to help any faculty right now. So if you are looking for video content to teach a particular concept, you can certainly email the librarians, tell them what you're trying to do, and then you'll have a different problem, which will be, how do I find the time to review all of this content they just sent me? So we've definitely had that issue happen in the past when I've been working with other faculty. So curated content, there's definitely lots of options. Couple of things to keep in mind with the curated content is to keep it relevant to your class. Again, I think I talked about this earlier. Don't just get something because it's like mildly related to what you're teaching. It needs to be, exactly, we don't want to waste our students' time. And video, in a lot of ways, part of why we say to keep it short is because video can really eat up a lot of your time. And there's something about logging into a class and seeing that you need to watch, 60 minutes worth of video that it's just a total turnoff. It's hard because I think most people want to be doing something, and just watching a video kind of feels really passive. So that's why we want to make sure it's relevant, make sure they're short. With some of the curated content, sometimes you might be tempted to say, okay, this is a good video, but it's a really long video, so I only want you to watch, like from this minute to this minute of the video. And that gets really confusing for our students. If you want them to watch a video, you should have it be the entire video that you want them to see. And the other thing, kind of going back to what we said about not wasting their time, is like avoid posting videos that are just if you want to learn more. You probably have some students that absolutely love learning and do like to learn more, but if it's not something that's going to be purposeful in the class, if it's not somehow connected to something else that they're doing, we need to avoid posting it. That would be more something like to share with your colleagues because you all share a common interest and think that it's cool. So if you're wondering where to start, I would recommend this for everybody, is to create one of those teacher immediacy videos. Your students are stressed out right now. This is a huge disruption. It's a huge change. So hearing and seeing you is going to be reassuring. So if you have access to a web camera, I would use it. Give it a try. And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's really painful to watch yourself in a video. I hate watching myself on video, but it helps people feel connected to you. So it does make a difference. In terms of equipment checkout, I do still have some equipment that's available. So if you need stuff, ask me. I know a lot of you filled out the technology needs identification form, which is very helpful, and I'm going to be reaching out to everybody individually as I go through those to make sure you have kind of what you need or some other alternative. But if there's anything else that you're specifically needing right now, let me know, and I'll certainly see what I can do, and I can get you on a wait list. So that would be what I have to say about equipment. So I don't know if you guys have questions right now, or if you want me to shift gears and show you some of these other video things within Blackboard that I can demonstrate for you. Are there any questions? Nope. Okay, so I'm not hearing anything. So I'm going to shift gears. You guys are all still there, right? I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself. But okay. Yeah, and I feel like I probably did not do a good job. Glad you're on beer number 2. That's great. Oh, there we go. Greg, what have you got? What's your question? I can't hear you. Sorry, you can type it. You can type your question. But while you guys think of other questions that you may have, I feel like I did not do a good job of my pacing going through that. I probably went super fast. So let's see, how do we let students know we have posted a new YouTube video? That is a great question. So what I would recommend doing is that you post an announcement in your class that says, hey, there's a new video. and then having like a designated landing page somewhere within your course where you have all of your videos. You can add a link to your video in your announcement, but that link is not going to show up on the Blackboard mobile app. For whatever reason, it does not, it doesn't show those links. And so you can end up sounding crazy if you're like, hey, check out my new video, and if your students are just looking at it from the mobile app. So that's why I would recommend post that announcement that says, hey, there's a new video, log in to check it out. Yes, I agree, Heather, the mobile app sucks. It does have a lot of limitations. So it's important to know what some of those limitations are. So my recommendation would be like create a page where you have all of your video announcements to students. Okay. Yes, okay, so Kristen just posted a great comment in here about Express Capture for Kaltura. So our IT folks are turning it on tonight, so when you log back in tomorrow, it will be there. And when I show you some of the Kaltura stuff, I'll show you exactly where it will be, but that's going to be a tool that you can use to create those teacher immediacy videos so that you'll be able to record yourself with a webcam. So Kaltura will have you covered. You'll be able to do the screen capture type recordings if you want to, and you'll be able to do the webcam recordings. So the nice thing is you don't have to have any special software to do those things. You can just use what's already available to you in Blackboard. Oh yes, and Heather posts a lot of videos in her class, those teacher immediacy types of videos. And she says here in the comments that she always tells them that the video is linked below, and it's also listed in the specific section of the class. So that can be helpful too. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to access Collaborate. And some of you may have already figured that out this week. Oops, I did not do my screen sharing. Hold on. Yep. All right, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. Yep, there it is going into infinity. Okay, so I'm flipping over to this class. Oops, and I already have it added. Let me delete that real quick. We don't confuse ourselves. Okay, so if you're going to add a link to Collaborate, you're going to go over here and do the tool link. I just call it Collaborate. You guys can call it whatever you want, and you're going to find it listed under Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And you can make that available to your students, right? So it's going to put it at the bottom of your menu. You can move it wherever you want. And then you click on it, and you can see here, this is what Blackboard Collaborate Ultra looks like. So what I did today was I just sent you all the guest link to the course room. So you have the option of creating these other sessions at specific dates and times, or you can use the course room. So you just click on it like this. I did that, and I sent you guys all the guest link right here and the dial-in information. So that's how I got that to you. So you went straight into the course room and you don't otherwise have access to the class. I think I heard a noise over here. Does somebody have a question?
Yep, I do.
Okay, what's the question?
So I just want to make sure I caught this. So we automatically have Collaborate available to us in Blackboard. The students can't see it unless we make it available to them?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought you were saying. Thank you for pointing that out. I would have missed that. Yes,
yeah, it is an important distinction. And Lauren, I think you had a question about whether it's available on Mac. And yes, I'm using a Mac right now. So this is kind of what it looks like. The other option, so if you were just going to access Collaborate without linking it up for your students, you can go under the course tools and you can find Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. But if you are only accessing it this way, know that the students cannot find it unless you're sending them the direct link. You have to create the tool link for it and add it up top, like we just did right here, for your students to be able to see it and find it in the menu. Another thing, so if you are recording sessions and you want them to be available to students later, this is where they would find that, under recordings. So by default, it's going to show you recordings from the last 30 days. And in this particular course, I don't have any. So that's why it's giving me that message. But that is where you would find the recordings. It's kind of unfortunate that it folds over and you don't immediately see it, but that's where you can find it, and that's where you can tell your students to find it. So anyhow, that, like I said, this gives you some of the session settings when you go into Collaborate. You can see that over there. And I'm going to pop back over to where we are right now. Sorry, I know it looks like infinity. So I'm going to show you over here. You see with the share content, hopefully, you have all these different options that we talked about. You've got, let's see how they're saying, but you can download the videos. Oh, yes. Yes, you have to mark to allow your students to download the videos before you record them. That's an important distinction also. So when you're here, you'd have to check. This is not the class we're in right now, so don't worry. But you would have to check the allow recording downloads so that your students will be able to download those recordings once you're done. When you're in here, though, hopefully you all have seen some of these tools when you go over to the share content. So right now I shared my PowerPoint for you. I did share files, right? So I went there and you can see my PowerPoints. Right now I'm doing the share application or screen. You also have the option, you know, to do a whiteboard. Oops, did that stop sharing my screen? I don't know. Go back. Okay, sorry. And Kristen just had a comment too. Oh, okay. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that you could do that retroactively. Okay, so if you did forget to check that off. Nice. Thank you, Kristen. Oops. And then, yep, so you can do the polling and the breakout groups as well. So that kind of hopefully gives you a little bit of a view of what is possible within Collaborate. The other menu, oops. Yes, you can definitely use Collaborate for advising. And I can talk to you more about that later, Carla. But yes, we can set that up. This over here on this side is where you would pull. You can also pull the dial-in information. This is where I went to start the recording for this session. You have a couple other settings, and then this down here is where you would leave the session. So that's kind of a quick crash course into Collaborate. I think the big takeaways with this are that you need to make the link available to your students, add it to your menu, and just understand what that interface looks like within Blackboard. And I've talked to eLearning about adding specific training sessions just about Collaborate. So hopefully we'll be getting some more information about that in the next coming days. If not, I can meet with you one-on-one, or I can even do another session like this just on Collaborate. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys was Kaltura. And this one is that it's kind of confusing. I wouldn't say confusing, but it's not intuitive whatsoever. So if so I guess pay attention. That sounds kind of rude, but the first thing you're going to do is go under Course Tools, and actually, sorry, I'm totally saying the wrong thing. First thing you're going to do is go up top, and you're going to do a module page, and I just call it My Media because we're going to go to the My Media page. In a lot of cases, you do not want this to be available to students. This is just so that you will have access to Kaltura. So I don't usually check off available to students. So I hit submit. You can see right there, I've got this My Media link now to a module page. So then I've got to go in and add the module. And I believe it's going to be on like the second or third page here. There it is, My Media. So you're going to add My Media. Hit OK. So now we're back again on this page, and it's goofy. It just has this one little link right here in the module that's called My Media. All right. So now this is launched it. This is Kaltura, and it's kind of embedded into this Blackboard skin for you. So what you're going to do, if you want to do some of those different recording types that we talked about, you're going to say Add New, and you'll use this drop-down. So you can do The webcam recording, I think, has some limitations. So that's why Kristen had mentioned that tonight our IT folks are going to add a new one called Kaltura Express Capture. So starting tomorrow, you'll see Express Capture listed here, and I would recommend using that one for any of your webcam recordings. That's going to be the better option for that. And then you also have Kaltura Capture. So this is the one that, oh, and it looks like I haven't even, because I'm using Chrome here. Usually I'll use a different browser for this one. So I'll download Kaltura Capture, and then this is the one that you would use to define that specific region on your screen so that you can do the screen capture. So hopefully that helps show you. So that's the drop-down. You'll use the Express Capture or the Kaltura Capture, depending on what type of video you're wanting to do with Kaltura. Once you create it, it's going to add it here to your My Media page. And when you have My Media, it's going to show all of the media that you've produced, no matter what course you published it from. So like these are ones that I did for different purposes, and they're all showing up here because they're things that I uploaded. So that's how that works. And so I'm gonna, that's just so you get a better view of what we've got here. Now I want to show you guys how to embed videos. I'll show you a couple of different options here. So I'm going to flip back over to this course. First thing I'm going to do, it's super easy to embed a video. I know a lot of folks are tempted. You use this drop-down menu and you can go right over here to mashups and you can embed a video right there. But I honestly don't like how it looks when you embed that way. It ends up being kind of like a small, I don't know, it doesn't look very good. So this is what I do. Let's say I have this YouTube video. This is this great video that, that Kristen made for everybody that talks about Collaborate. And so I'm going to go, sorry, I'm going to walk you through that again. So you're on your YouTube video that you want to embed. You're going to go where it says share, and then you hit embed. From here, you're going to get this iframe information, so you can just hit copy, right? So it copies all of that for you. Now you're going to go back to your course and go here, and you're going to go to the HTML. Then I pasted everything that was right there, and I'm submitting, if it'll let me. There we go. And so now you can see that video embed. So it's really easy. You can just grab that code, and I'll do another one. I'll do it two different ways with Kaltura. So here, same type of concept using Kaltura. You use the share button. You can see that they've highlighted, you know, I've copied that. I'm going back over here. I'm going to go back to my HTML. I'm going to paste that. So now we have this video embed from Kaltura right here. By default, it's a different size, but you may be able to go in and adjust that. I haven't really messed with the embeds like that from Kaltura. You also have the option with Kaltura. There's like too many options with Kaltura in some ways. So another thing you can do is use the mashup from right here with Kaltura. So this is going to launch any video that I have uploaded in here. You'll see some stuff for other folks. And you're going to select the video you want. And then that went ahead and embedded it. Sorry, it's being slow. Okay. And so that it's interesting because I prefer this view of the Kaltura embed, the one that you do from that editing toolbar, as opposed to getting the video embed code that we used right here. Anyway, so those are a couple different options for embedding videos, so they can make your classes look a little bit more visually pleasing. I think that covers some of the stuff I was planning to show you. Let me stop sharing my screen now. So do you guys have questions? I know it's kind of quiet. Okay, Lauren, I see that you had the question to go back and view how to edit the beginning. What part are you talking about? Oh, the My Media module. Okay. Yeah, so that one is kind of, yeah. You kind of have to, I know a lot of people like to write down the steps, so I'll try to go slow so you can write down the steps. It'll take me back. So, so you're going to go up to the little plus sign at the top. You're going to go to module page and come up with a title for it. And then once you are on, that's what I did. So then once you're there, you would go to add course module.
Hey, Jana, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. That was bad. I've just been walking you through all of it. I'm sorry. Oh. See, when I remember I said like technical difficulties, a lot of it is like user error. So anyway, sorry. Here we go. So hopefully you're seeing this now. So what you're going to do to add the link to Kaltura is you're going to go to the plus sign. You're going to do module page, right? You're going to come up with a name for it. I just call it My Media because that's what the module itself is called. So it'll add it down here. And then you'll see this link right here that says Add Course Module. And you're going to scroll. I believe it's on the second page. I think we're on it right here. Maybe not. Sorry, I'm giving everyone a headache. I don't know what's the deal. There it is, My Media. So, and you'll know once you've added it because it'll switch over and say remove here. So anyway, you add it and then make sure that you go to the bottom and hit OK. Because if you don't hit OK, it's not going to save it for you. And then you'll go back and you'll have My Media and you just click into it and that's going to launch it for you. And there's also the option under your course tools to go to the media gallery right here, but this is not actually the same view of Kaltura as what you get when you do the My Media module. So this one I think just shows you the videos that you have posted to this particular class as opposed to all of it. I think Kristen probably has more information about that. Yes, I think she just said something about, yes. Students will see if you make it available. Yes, so and another thing I really didn't talk about at all today was if you want your students to be creating video assignments. So that might be a popular option if you were planning to do class presentations. You can have them do those via Collaborate or any of the other live web lecture tools. I think it's a great way to get students comfortable presenting online. You also have the option, like let's say you were doing a lab and you needed students to be able to demonstrate that they can do a particular thing in the lab. You could have them do a video and submit it using that My Media tool. And I know we can get a lot more information from Kristen's college on that because a lot of the nursing students end up doing that. So you don't, I see Liz, you just asked a question about adding My Media to each course. Do you mean like, do you have to upload the same video? Because no, you absolutely don't have to do that. But if you want to quickly access Kaltura from all of your courses, then yes, you would add the My Media tool. So yes, you would have to add that module to each of them. Or, I mean, honestly, you could just access all of your videos or upload all of your videos from one course, and then you should be able to use that mashup tool to select any of those videos. So that might be easier if you just know. All right, is that good? I feel like people are chatting in here today and not really talking to me, so I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself a lot. So hopefully, hopefully this has been helpful and I didn't just like blast through this too fast. Oh, Carla, yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So maybe a quick refresher on like what settings to use when uploading to YouTube.
Oh, okay. That's a great question.
If we have time.
So, yeah, I think we have like 4 minutes, so that's good. So when you're uploading to YouTube, I know a lot of people kind of freak out because they don't want their videos to be publicly accessible to everyone, but you do still want the videos to be embedded in your course. And so the option there that you want to select is to have your video be unlisted. So if it's unlisted, then anyone with that URL can view it or embed it, but it's not searchable on YouTube. So, but then we have some folks that are happy posting their stuff publicly, and then you would just make it public. Is that, and I think that's pretty much the only setting. Okay, Mike?
So I get a question. It's not class related. So you've made the point about how it's nice to have videos just to let the students know that you're out there and thinking about them or working on class. Is there a way for me to do that that would be accessible to all of the biology majors, even though none of them they're not all registered for the same courses?
Yeah, so some of the things that other departments have been doing lately is creating a Blackboard org. It's an organization that's specific to your majors, and
Okay,
so
so I think I have that, so they can get into that and see it the same way.
Yes.
Okay.
So what you could do is like post an announcement letting them know that you've got a video for them. And since most of them are using the mobile app, they probably won't be able to view the video from the app, but they will know to then go to that organization to view it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Oh, yeah, and Kristen made a good comment down here. I want to point that out really quick. So she says that students would use that mashup tool to submit their videos with their assignments. Yes. So yes, if you're having students kind of demonstrate that they can do something for a lab or some other kind of video submission, they would do that with their assignment. And that would be something that I can help you kind of post instructions in your class for students so that they will know what to do to submit their videos. So, is that good? All right. Okay, Rob, that's a good question about using Kaltura Capture. I feel like it's pretty straightforward as long as you can get it to download first, which is sometimes it gives me some trouble because when you first launch it, it asks you to download it. And some people's computers on campus, just based on how they're configured, will have some trouble downloading it. And if that's the case, then contact IT, and they're going to come and, you know, I don't even know the specifics. Kristen, maybe you remember part of why it gives people trouble sometimes. But once you download the tool, once it's installed, it's really straightforward. There's just like a big record button on it, and then you hit stop when you're done. I haven't had any trouble with it once I actually get it downloaded.
I think sometimes it's been browser related, and we've had a lot of trouble with it stopping, or if it, after the faculty member has completed the video, it won't upload to Kaltura. And with Windows 7, we used to easily find where it had dump the video onto your local computer where you're creating it. And so that was fine. But with Windows 10, we're still working with the vendor of where to find that. So that was kind of one of the problems, and they're working to correct a lot of, we met with the vendor a while back, but one of the things that Jana said in the beginning of the presentation is to make these short 10-minute videos. And that's also important when using Kaltura, because if instead of doing like a 40-minute lecture and then you lose it, losing 10 minutes won't be as agonizing as losing a 40-minute lecture.
Yes, very true. And Rob just asked about if there's a browser that works better, and I can't remember. I would not use Internet Explorer at all.
Right now, Firefox is better with Kaltura, and Chrome is better with Collaborate.
Yes, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, Firefox with Kaltura and Chrome with Collaborate. I know it's a lot to remember. Yes, sorry, that you are seeing the Hall of Mirrors. I can stop sharing and then you won't see that anymore. Ta-da! So that's what happens if you're sharing your screen and your screen is showing your Collaborate space. Yeah, sorry about that. So the thing to do, like I'm sure you saw, like once I, oh look, there's a nice computer term for it, recursion. I like that. But yeah, so the thing to do is to like navigate away to something else on your screen so it doesn't drive people crazy. But yes, thank you all. I really do appreciate you all logging in today and watching this with us. And if you have follow-up questions, feel free to give me an email or call me. And hopefully I'll hear from you soon. Thanks so much, guys.
Great. Thanks, Jana.